Hi, and welcome to this Dimecast about Alamofire, elegant networking in Swift. Last time, in episode 215, we looked at using AF networking in Swift. AF networking is a very popular networking library for iOS, but that is written targeting Objective-C. We looked at how you could use some Objective-C bridges and access that code from within Swift, but this time I want to take a look at how we can use native Swift in order to do the networking that we wanted to do. So you'll notice here on this page, it's at github.com/Alamofire, that Alamofire is written by the creator of AF networking, so you can be sure that it's got the same kind of ideals in mind and probably a lot of ideas that are going to be very popular with developers. So if we look at some of the things that it has the ability to do, it has chainable request and response methods. You can do URL JSON plist parameter encoding, upload files, you can do authentication, you can do curl debugging. A lot of good stuff. Unfortunately, it is not the easiest thing in the entire world to get installed, because last time when we used AF networking, we were able to use CocoaPods to quickly get ourselves up to speed. This time we have to do it a little more old school until they come up with a native Swift package manager. So let's take a look at that. So we'll create a new project. We'll just make a single view application. Let's call it Alamo Swift. Net Dimecast Swift iPhone, and we'll put it in our Dimecast folder and get started. Now, previously with CocoaPods, the first thing we had to do was shut this down, go in, do some command line magic, and then open the workspace instead. This is going to be a little bit of a different process. So we can leave the project open. If you look at the website, the first thing we want us to do is add Alamofire as a submodule. Well, I already have a Git repository set up for here for Dimecast, which you can access. So I am able to add this as a submodule. First, let's see where we are. Let's get into our Alamo Swift. And now I'm going to just write that command. All right, I made the submodule. Now, if we look in the Finder, we'll see that we have Alamo Swift here alongside the other projects we've done so far. When I dig in, you'll notice there's an Alamofire folder, which has its own Git repository. This is what was created into the submodule. If you're not working with a Git repository already, you cannot do a submodule. But what you can do is download the code from GitHub, and if you just drag the downloaded folder into your project so that it sits alongside, here are my Alamo Swift folders and files. Here's Alamofire. Just drag Alamofire into here. You can just pick up right where I'm at now without creating the submodule. So what I need to do is jump back to Xcode, take the Finder, and they want me to drag the Xcode project right over here. You'll notice that unlike the workspace, this time this project is actually underneath of our project. And you'll notice if I close, it's all contained within that project. So the first thing we have to do is make sure they're targeting the same thing. Alamofire is targeting 8.0 and Universal. Alamo Swift is targeting 8.1 iPhone. I'm just going to tweak that so they're the same. Now, we'll jump back over to Alamo Swift. And the settings say, make sure they're the same. Open build phases. Target dependencies. So target dependencies, I'll hit the plus. And I'm just going to grab Alamofire here. And then I need to add this plus and say new copy files, which we're going to change to copy frameworks at their suggestion. Destination framework plus, and this time we're going to add the Alamofire framework. Now if I build, we succeeded and we should be all set. So what we're going to use here is the same REST UI that we've been using, found at jasonplaceholder.typicode.com/users, and we're going to access these users. So to do that, I'm going to create the same placeholder use object that we've used previously. So I just pasted the code that we've used previously. Again, it declares 6 properties: user ID, username, name, email, phone, and website. Creates the init with dictionary. That'll take that JSON dictionary, populate these for us, as well as a description method so that we can kind of pretty output those fields to take a look at them. All right, we're going to get rid of did receive memory warning because it's only calling up to the super, and just to clean up a little. Okay, and the view did load. Let's begin. Okay. So I've pasted our code in here. Let's take a look at what it does. First, we have this output users method, again, copy and pasted from our last project, as well as this declaration of the class level users variable, which we'll use to persist the users as we load them. So first, we're going to just Alamofire request, pass in .get or .post or whatever verb you're sending, and the URL. That's it. That's the basis of all that we're doing, is that method, and that will make the request by itself. To that, we have .response JSON, which will take, has the request, the response, the JSON, and the error. It returns void, and then we can execute this code. There's also, you'll notice how it's chaining these methods. It's just .response JSON. I could also add, there's a response string. You can build these up similarly to how you might build up catch blocks in .NET or some other languages to catch different kinds of exceptions. Here we can catch different kinds of responses, and those are all available to us. But in this case, we are getting JSON as a response. And so this code is also exactly the same as in our other Dimecasts. You'll notice we're going to say we have if less let test, take that JSON, cast it as an array of any object. Then for everything inside that array, it's going to cast that as a dictionary, string any object. Then we're going to make a user out of placeholder user init with dictionary and append it to the list. And then finally, when we're done, output users. Something we don't have to do with Alamofire is some separate, you notice we didn't build a variable and then call Alamofire start. Right? We didn't have to do that. It just automatically executes. It's still asynchronous, so anything you want to do here, you notice I wanted to get outside. Out here, I do have to do some kind of callback in order to execute the code. So if we build and run, you'll notice here are users. But some other things that are kind of neat is we have progress indicator. Alamofire will give us an idea of our progress, whether that's on an upload or a download. In this case, I am making a request to put on this JSON list of users, so let's take a look at what that might look like. Okay, here we go. You just call .progress, and it takes in the number of bytes written in that progress, the total bytes written so far, and the total bytes they still need to write. It also returns void. In this case, I'm just going to output the status. So let's see how that looks. All right, when I run this time, you'll notice it got the chunk all at once. See what happens if I run it again. This time, it got it in 2 separate chunks instead of all at once. One time we went through, we'd gotten 1155 out of the 5645 bytes, and then finally, the second time through, we got the rest of them. So if you want to show some kind of progress indicator, Alamofire makes that very, very easy for you to get the values and then do the math and show some kind of loading bar or spinner or notification to the user to let them know how much longer it's going to be. So that's it. Alamofire is really that easy. I would recommend if you hop over to the GitHub page, just take a look around. You see what all it's capable of doing. It is still a brand new library, so it's probably subject to change. But it does do a lot of things, and it looks like the creator has basically outsourced all help to Stack Overflow. So if you need help check for the Alamofire tag on Stack Overflow. You want to ask a question, check Stack Overflow. Any kind of bugs, of course, report them through GitHub. Or you can fix it yourself and send a pull request. This is actually a rather small library. I believe he said it's about 1,000 lines of code. But it's a very good and powerful library for native Swift networking. Gives you an idea of the kind of things that are possible. That's it for this time. In this episode, we've learned how to pull Alamofire as a submodule, how to add it into our project, and how to simply create an Alamofire request response objects, and how to keep track of progress using the progress method. That's all for this time. Until next time.